Big Rab Show Podcast is kindly sponsored by G1 Reeds. They are the champion's choice, with many bands around the world playing G1 products, providing everything you'd need to hit the circle or the big stage. So, check out g1reeds.com as they keep the lights on here at the Big Rab Show Podcast.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another Big Rab Show podcast. How are you, folks? Well, that was a busy weekend, and for myself, personally, it was, quite a scary one, but a fun one at the same time. Anyway, we're going to talk all about that, of course. The news and updates, we've got a lot of ground to cover. There's been a lot of bagpipe and action over the course of this past weekend, and we've got a lot to look forward to in the weeks to come. So there's going to be a lot in this week's episode. Of course, we also have an amazing guest joining us this week. Of course, you've seen the title of the episode. You know exactly who we're talking to. So, let's get into this week's show, good and proper, shall we? First of all, let's do our introductions. If this is your first ever Big Rab Show podcast, you are welcome. We are the show for the bagpiping folk. We reflect everything in the bagpiping world, be it Celtic music, folk music, or indeed our bread and butter, which is competitive piping and drumming. Each and every week, we're here talking about what we know and love to be the music of the great Highland bagpipe and its people. And like every other podcast under the sun, we do have a Patreon. So if you do want to help support the show, there's a link in your show notes right now where you can go and click on support, and you would be immediately awesome.
The Patreon faithful are awesome. The Patreon faithful are awesome.
Yeah, a bit of heavy metal on the Big Rab Show. Yeah, the Patreon faithful are absolutely awesome. So if you would like to help support your favourite wee bagpiping podcast, well then, there you go. Click on that button. Get your mitts on all those extras. Oh, by the way, speaking of extras, for those of you who are on our Patreon right now, you may not be aware, but we have just dropped episode 3 of our behind-the-scenes documentary. This thing has become the stuff of legend. This documentary for this past month is honestly over an hour long. So if you do want to see the kind of fly on the wall kind of stuff, the behind the scenes that nobody else gets to see, well, go and click on support, and you can go and watch the documentary. So there's 3 episodes of it up there now. There's some fascinating stuff back there. Yeah, so exclusive to our Patreon faithful. Go and check it out. And if you are part of the Patreon faithful, you're awesome. All right, let's get into this week's show, good and proper. Now, each and every episode, we do open the door to listener mail, and this week is no different. That email address has never changed from the start of the show, which is bigrabshow@gmail.com. That address again, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Now, after last week's show, we did mention in the news and updates about the Las Vegas Highland Games and how we were finding it pretty much nigh on impossible to find the results for the band competition. Well, to say that we opened the floodgates would be an absolute understatement. Oh, the amount of people that emailed us with the results were fantastic. But do you know something? With all of the emails and correspondence that we got here in the Big Rab Show, I still don't believe that these results have been officially published anywhere. I don't know why that is. But anyway, we had tons of people who were actually there at the Las Vegas Highland Games, and they provided us with the results. So shout out to all of you who emailed us in. There was loads of you. So thank you to everyone. So let's go through the results then, shall we, for everyone who emailed them in to us. Starting with the Saturday, the Grade 5 Quick March Medley. In first place was the Glendale Pipes and Drums. Yes, in second place was the Las Vegas Emerald Society. And in third place was the Upland High School. Now, that's a band I haven't heard of before, so I'm curious to hear more. Yeah. Moving on, a Grade 4 medley. First place was the Cameron Highlanders. Yes. Second place was Wasatch District, Grade 4. And in third was Glendora High School. That was your Grade 4 medley. Moving on to Grade 3 MSR. In first place was the Kevin R. Blanford. Go on, the Blanford! Yeah! Go on, the Kevin R. Blanford. In second place was the Phoenix Pipe Band. There you are. And then on the Saturday, the Grade 2 medley went to Wasatch. There you are. All right, looking on to the Sunday then, the final day of the competition, starting with the Grade 5 MSM. It went, well, to the Upland High School Pipe Band was the winners. First place. Well done. Yeah. So in second place then was the Glendale Pipes and Drums. Third place was the Las Vegas Emerald Society. So I am curious to hear more about the Upland High School Band. I don't know much about them. And yeah, I would like to learn more. So anyone out there has those performances, by the way, send them our road. I would love to hear more from that Grade 5 competition. Moving on to Grade 4 MSR on the Sunday. First place was the Cameron Highlanders. Yeah. Second place was Glendora High School. And then third was Wasatch District Grade 4 Band. There you are. Grade 3 medley then on the Sunday went to the Kevin R. Blandfords again. Well done, the Blandfords. Yes, that was a Grade 3 medley. And in second place was the Phoenix Pipe Band. There you are. Well done. And then looking to Grade 2, an MSR competition on the Sunday, and it went to Wasatch. There you are. So that was your results then from the Vegas Games. Now, as to why they're not published, no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. But yeah, we've had various bits of correspondence and theories as to why they might not be published. But apparently it is a known problem. It's a known issue in the Wusbaba branch specifically about getting results posted. So don't know what's happening, but I'm hoping that they'll get a handle on it, and future events, the results will get posted pretty much the next day, you know. But we don't mind waiting a day or two, you know. But this is weeks now since the competition, and I don't believe they're published yet at this point. Anyway, let's move on. Controversy aside, we've got another email here, and this one came in from Paul. He said, "Hi, Big Rab and team. I hope you're keeping well." Yes, we are, Paul. Thank you. He says, "I'm writing in response to your upcoming special podcast diving into the British Championship draw, and I'd love to take the opportunity to introduce our band, the German Thistle Pipes and Drums." Ooh. Yes. Now, I didn't know that the German Thistle Band were entered, to be honest, because, you know, I deliberately have avoided reading the draw. You know, you heard it last week on the show. I said that the draw was up there. I give you the numbers, but I didn't give you the bands. So this kind of spoiler territory. Paul, thanks, mate. But the German Thistle Pipes and Drums, excellent. So he goes on to explain a little bit more as about the band themselves. He says, yeah, we're a relatively young band, founded in 2023, but we've been very active since getting started. We began competing in Germany, then expanded to Belgium, followed by Ireland, and now Scotland. And the British Championships will be our first competition under the RSPBA, which we're incredibly excited about. They're based in Berlin, with members coming from across Germany, as well as one player from Poland. And our musical leadership is led by Pipe Major Barry Keegan and leading drummer Christoph Renas. Now, if I've pronounced your name incorrectly, I did not do it on purpose. It is just stuff the Rab got wrong. Yeah, so apologies if I did pronounce your names incorrectly. Who have been instrumental in shaping the band's sound and direction. So there you go, Christoph and Barry. Good stuff, good work. Moving on, he says, a big focus for us is developing our players and building for the future. And this season we'll be competing in Germany and Scotland with our Grade 3A band, while our development band is also working hard, continue to develop and competing in Germany. And we hope to be able to bring the development band to the RSPBA and potentially the IPBA for future events as well. That's brilliant. So they have a 3A band and a development band. That's smashing. Brilliant. Moving on, he says, for us, it's not just about competing. We're really looking forward to hearing the other bands and meeting people from across the scene. So, if anyone happens to spot us, we'll be delighted to have a blether. Perhaps after our run on the green. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. Paul, thank you so much, mate, for giving us an introduction to the German Thistle Pipes and Drums. And, yeah, he does conclude his email with other stuff that, you know, planning for future episodes of the Big Rab Show, we'll just say that. Because, yeah, I think this is definitely a band that we're going to have to get introduced in our Meet the Band series. For sure. For sure. But, yeah, German Thistle Pipe Band, that's exciting. Yeah. Now, I'm also very keen to hear both bands, the 3A and the development band. So, yeah, I'll be keeping across that. But thank you for your email, Paul. Much appreciated, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you now at the British Championships. That's exciting. All right, Will's got another email here. This one's coming from Alan. He says, hi, Big Rab, hope you're well. I am indeed, Alan. Thanks very much. He says, would be grateful if you could give a plug on your show for an upcoming recital night on Friday, the 8th of May. Yes, I've heard about this. So we've been promoting it on Fuse for a little while. I don't think we've mentioned it on the pod here yet. So, hi, perfect excuse. We'll read your email. So we have a fantastic piping and drumming lineup, including Roddy McLeod, Callum Beaumont, and Kerr McQuillan. And the recital is being held in the Tannockside Miners Club in 438 Old Edinburgh Road, View Park, Uddingston, Lanarkshire. It's a very specific address, that, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, this is all happening on May the 8th, and doors open at 7:30. Tickets are 20 quid, and they can be got from any band member or through the band's Facebook page. So, yeah, this is all raising funds for Uddingston Pipe Band and their big recital night that's happening on the 8th of May. That's all sorts of awesome right there. Now, the reason it's awesome is because, well, obviously the lineup is kind of ridiculous. Roddy McLeod, Callum Beaumont, and Kerr McQuillan will absolutely tear the place up. I can't wait for it. That's going to be so good. But also the venue as well. He actually mentions this in his email. It says, the recital is being held in our practice venue, a great club with very reasonable bar prices for those who fancy a wee refreshment. Love that. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing about the Miners Club there in Edinburgh Road, View Park, Uddingston, Lanarkshire, to be very specific. There you go. So, Alan, thank you for your email. And yes, if anyone is interested in grabbing tickets for that, I do believe they are still available. So, yeah, 8th of May is when it opens and when it happens. So go and grab your tickets. Contact any member of Uddingston Pipe Band through their socials and get yourselves sorted with tickets. That's going to be a big night, that one. Yeah, good stuff. All right, so that's pretty much it for listener mail. Everything else was all pretty much dealing with future, all future Big Rab shows and stuff. And I'm not about to let the cat out of the bag because that was another thing that was on last week's pod. Everyone was talking again about episode 500 and what are we going to be doing for it. Now, for anyone that did listen to our interview on last week's pod, there might have been a little hint as to what we might be up to. Oh, there might well be. For those of you who are sharp-eared, you might have heard a little cat kind of creeping its way out of the bag, but we stuffed it back in again. Anyway, some of you did pick up on it, and some of you emailed us and said, "Hi, Rob, is this actually happening?" And I can neither confirm nor deny, but next week, folks, all right, I'm going to put a line in the sand. Next week, we're going to announce what exactly we're doing to mark episode 500. Okay? Oh, so you'll have only until next week to wait until we have that huge announcement, what we're doing for episode 500. Man, I can't wait, because it seems to be, I have been keeping this thing a secret for the longest time. It's kind of ridiculous. And I can't keep secrets. So, yes, next week's pod, big announcement, episode 500. It's around the corner. But until then, if you do want to get a little sneaky peek, maybe have a listen back to last week's episode and our interview that we got. Yeah, the cat kind of got out of the bag a little bit. But we stuffed it back in. Get in there, cat. Anyway, right, so that's pretty much it for listener mail. If you do want to send us in your own listener mail, of course, you can do. Email us in, bigrabshow@gmail.com. We'd always love to hear from you. Right, at this point in the show, we do normally throw the door open to Weekly Drone. And unfortunately, again, we don't have any Weekly Drone this week. 2 weeks in a row with no Weekly Drones. I tell you, the bagpiping world must be incredibly happy right now, because that's 2 weeks without any drones. Wow. So, yeah, we've covered some ground on the show this past couple of weeks, and I'm surprised that we haven't had any drones. So, I don't know what's going on, but hi, you folks out there must be really happy. Or maybe you just don't have time to send in weekly drones. That could be a thing as well. You know, we're all furiously practicing for the start of the season, so maybe that's it too. Anyway, just to fully explain what Weekly Drone is, it's, well, you can send us in your thoughts and opinions, completely warts and all, without fear of recrimination. It's an open microphone to the bagpiping world, so if you would like to air your thoughts and opinions, and, well, without that fear of any kind of blowback on you or the band or anything like that, well then, yeah, you can let us have it on Weekly Drone. Just go to our website, thebigrabshow.com. There's a big button at the top of the page saying Weekly Drone, and you can let us know your story, your thoughts, your opinions, all of it. You can do it over there, and then JD will be here on a future Big Rab Show, and he'll read it out for us here in the show, and we can react to it in real time. There you are. It's a beautiful thing, but unfortunately we haven't had Weekly Drone now for 2 weeks. JD's had a fortnight's holidays. He doesn't know himself. Anyway, so that, unfortunately, folks, no Weekly Drone this week. Apologies. But, if anything, that kind of just gives us a bit of an excuse then to kind of break early, and then, yeah, go and get ourselves a wee break. But we'll be right back with all of the news and updates just after this. Ever wish you had a piping teacher on call 24/7? Well, now you do. Introducing the Interactive Player, a game-changing new practice tool at Dojo University. Play along with world champion pipers while the notes on your sheet music light up in time. Loop tricky phrases, slow down tough sections, zoom in to focus, and build speed automatically. It's like having a teacher right in your practice room, showing you how to master every tune at your own pace. So, sign up for a free trial today at pipersdojo.com and start learning smarter with Dojo U's Interactive Player.
Ready to take your playing to the next level? Say hello to the ES Session Chanter, the ultimate practice chanter designed for versatility and durability. Crafted from stainless steel and aluminium, the chanter comes equipped for both an A stem and a B flat stem, giving you the freedom to play along with any instrument, anytime, anywhere. Whether at a band practice or a trad session, the ES Session Chanter keeps pace with your creativity. Included with the chanter is the custom carbon carry case, the perfect addition to this compact and tactile instrument. To get yours, head to essessionchanter.co.uk.
Yes, indeed. Time for the news and updates. And, just taking a wee second there to thank those who support us. Thank you so much. Right, so where should we start with this week's news and updates? Well, come on. Of course, I had to start with the County Down Section Indoor Championships, which took place this past weekend in Dromore High School. This event was brilliant. Yeah, and the venue, the bands, the people, it was just such a great day. And yeah, even from a competitor's point of view, it was, so well organized and just ran like absolute clockwork. So well done to all of, the backroom team, the stewards, and everyone involved in organising such a great event. So, yeah, shout out to the County Down section. Done a great job. This event was the first opportunity the bands this side of the Irish Sea had to have a good dig at each other. Yeah. Now, granted, it was in an indoor setting and was a little bit different from what we're used to when we're competing outdoors with different variables, I guess. But still a very interesting competition with a lot of new music that was debuted. We'll talk about that, of course. But yeah, the venue itself was absolutely brilliant. The crowds were absolutely mad. It was really packed and a lot of great piping action. So let's get into the results then, shall we? Starting in Grade 4B, in first place was Hollymount Pipe Bands. Yes, well done, Hollymount, with ones right across the board. First in Pipe and Drumming Ensemble, not a bad result. In second place was my own band, Tullylagan in Grade 4B. Yeah! Go on, the Lagan. Yeah, so we were second in ensemble preference. There you go. And in third place then was Brady Ulster Scots. Yes, well done, Brady. And in fourth place was Garva. Now, Garva, I think we haven't seen them in competitive circles now for quite a number of years. So it was brilliant to see them back out again. Yeah, so shout out to Garva. Very exciting to see you back in the circle again, folks. And that Grade 4B competition, yeah, I was in there. I was playing with the mighty Tullylagan in 4B. And so, yeah, Grade 4B is going to be a tough grade this year. A lot of good music played in there. It's not going to be a very calm season in 4B. I think it's going to be extremely competitive. So, yeah, listening to all the bands there, a lot of great music played for sure. So there you are. Yeah, so hopefully that answers a bunch of questions. A lot of people have been asking me, am I going to be competing this year? The answer is, well, hopefully, yes. Well, I kind of made my competitive debut last season, and I'm hope to continue that this year. So, yeah, managed to make it into the competitive band this weekend, and we just don't know what happens the weekends after that. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, I do hope to be competing this year. There you are. All right. Moving on swiftly. Moving into grade 4A then. Shout out to the winners on the day who were Money Gore. Yes. Congratulations, Money Gore, again, with ones right across the board. Piping, drumming, ensemble, the full thing. Congratulations, Money Gore. In second place were Cottown. Yeah, with twos right across the board. Not a very strong performance. Well done, Cottown. In third place then, on ensemble preference, were the Graham Memorial Clontibricht. Yes, great result there for Graham Memorial. Good stuff. And in fourth place then were Hollymount. Yeah, who played up a grade. There you go. So that was your grade 4A. Moving into grade 3B then, we had in first place Upper Cross Gar. Yeah, well done, Upper Cross Gar. Again, ones right across the board. And then second place then was Ballybowly Pipe Band. I really enjoyed their selection, actually. Go and have a listen to that. Really enjoyable stuff. And that was in grade 3B. Moving on to grade 3A then, the winners on the day were the Major Sinclair Memorial. You go on, the Sinclair. Now, this is where I'm going to get into interesting music being debuted here. Has anyone heard the medley from Major Sinclair? Wow, is all I can say. It absolutely blew my socks off. Now, if you haven't heard it yet, there is videos from everything that happened at the County Down Indoors. They're all up there now on the YouTube channel for the Big Rab Show. Well worth a listen. Go and check out Major Sinclair Memorial in 3A. That was such a great set. Yeah. In second place then in 3A were the Irvine Memorial. Again, another really great set being played by Irvine. Just thoroughly enjoyable. And then in third place then were Ballybowly, who played up a grade. And again, thumped out a big tune, actually. The pipe corps in particular were really singing for Ballybowly. So, yeah, very enjoyable. Between 3B and 3A, a wealth of great music being played there. Yeah. Now, also on the day, they did have a de facto grade 2 where the Irvine Memorial did play up, but no other band contested in grade 2. So they ended up winning grade 2 de facto, I guess. So well done to the Irvine. So, yeah, my advice is to go back and watch all of those recordings. They are up there now on the Big Rab Show YouTube channel. They're definitely worth a watch. I don't know, some of those sets, man, were just brilliant. Absolutely. And I'm such a huge fan of that medley selection from the Sinclair. Just brilliant. There you go. So go check it out. Take my advice. You'll be well entertained for sure. All right, speaking of competition results, well, we have to mention this past weekend's 2026 Pipe Majors Wheel of Fortune competition, which took place. Yeah, we mentioned this before in a previous Big Rab Show, where the City of Edinburgh Pipe Band have hosted this now every year for this last, I don't know how long. But yeah, it's quite an interesting competition where you have to, spin the golden chanter on the wheel kind of thing. And then depending on what number it lands on, depends on what set you have to play. Yeah, a very interesting one. But yes, full congratulations goes to Pipe Sergeant of People's Ford, Balcon and Bathgate, Caledonia, Bradley Parker, who managed to win not only the MSR, but also the medley competition as well. Yeah, congratulations. Now, there is a third element to this. You have your medley, your MSR, but you also have a prize for best joke. Yeah, so apparently Craig Muirhead won the prize for best joke. Now, I haven't heard the joke. I haven't seen it published anywhere either, but I have been told that it involves sheep. Yeah, I haven't heard the joke, so I can neither confirm nor deny, but people have been telling me that it involves sheep. So I don't know if Craig Muirhead is, I don't know, is he a farmer or that? I have no idea. Either way, he had a very funny joke which won the prize for best joke. Apparently that's an element of the competition where everyone who's on stage playing also had to tell a good joke. There you are. Right. But yeah, just a shout out to Bradley Parker, who absolutely swept the boards for both the MSR and the medley competition. Apparently, this competition has been seen and billed as the funnest bagpipe competition available. And yeah, I'm curious. I would like to attend this in future. You know, we've been covering this event now for years as it happens. And yeah, there's a lot of great piping action come from this. But just full congratulations to Bradley Parker, who swept the boards. Congratulations. Okay, well, looking towards other pipe band competitions which took place this past weekend, we have to give a mention to the Ottawa Indoors. Yes, thanks to the PBBSO. Yeah, they ran the event in South Carlton High School, and we have videos of all the performances from all the grades up there now on our YouTube channel. So shout out to Bill, who managed to film those for us. Thank you, Bill. Absolute legend. So, yeah, a lot of the piping action from that competition has seen the light of day now over there. So you can go back and have a watch at all of it. Now, unfortunately, as for getting the actual results from this competition, that has proved challenging. I don't actually have a copy of them here. So that's on us. We've done a bit of digging and trying to find out exactly who won what and where, but that's been difficult to find, unfortunately. Yeah, but the performances, however, are up there now on our socials, and as soon as we have details of all the results, we'll certainly bring that to you here on the Big Rab Show. Now, I do want to give a particular mention to the Ottawa Highlanders Pipes and Drums, their Grade 2 medley selection, and their MSR. Both performances were just fantastic, so shout out to the Ottawa Highlanders. Also, shout out to the McKeown Ramsey Pipe Band in Grade 4, also played a good tune. Yeah, just overall, the competition itself just seemed to be really well ran, and a wealth of soloists involved as well. So shout out to all of you solo musicians who took part in this indoor. Yeah, best of luck to all of you, anyone who managed to come away with silverware with that. Yeah, well done. Yeah. So as for the actual results, we are hoping that they will be published soon on the PBBSO website, and then, well, yeah, we'll bring that to you here in a future Rab Show. But yeah, just a shout out to Bill for, yeah, covering all things from this competition. Very enjoyable to be able to bring that to all of you folks. So if you are anyways curious as to what happened at the Ottawa Indoors, well, there you are. Go and check it out on the Big Rab Show YouTube channel, and yeah, go and enjoy it. All right. Let's talk about a competition that's just about to happen. Well, yeah, this weekend sees the Oceanic Solo Drumming Championship in New Zealand. Yeah, now the draw for this has been published, and it's online, and rather than me sit here and read a hashtag list for everyone, you can go and view it for yourself. It's up on there in the rnzpba.com, the full listings for the Oceania. Now, this one obviously is important for that all-important pre-Worlds qualification spot that everyone's keen to get whenever it comes to solo snare drumming competitions. So, to everyone listed there, I'm not going to read you all, because there's a lot of you, but yeah, best of luck. And that's all happening this weekend. So, yeah, cannot wait for this. And, of course, we will be talking more about this competition on next week's Big Rab Show, as we will delve into the who, won, what, and where, and all of that. And, of course, that all-important pre-Worlds qualification spot. Yeah, good luck, folks. That's just around the corner this weekend. So, good luck. Have a good tune. Okay, keeping things in New Zealand, well, this past weekend seen a very exciting new announcement from the National Youth Pipe Band of New Zealand. Yeah, they have just released their brand new debut album called Bound by Sound. Now, this is exciting. Now, it's one thing that's kind of confused me, and I'm hoping that someone out there who's associated with the band or the association might be able to give me a bit more detail. But apparently this album is available right now on all streaming platforms. So you can get it on like Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, all that kind of stuff. Anywhere but you would stream your music, that's where you can go and listen to it, right? But those of us who are kind of like old school, like me, perhaps, that would actually like a physical copy of it, you know, like an actual CD to hold in your hand. I don't know if one has been released or not. So if you can help me out with that regard, please do let me know. And even especially for some real bagpiping nerds who would really love to see it on vinyl. I know a lot of people actually collect vinyl of pipe band recordings. And yeah, would love to get their hands on that if that's available. So yeah, shout out to the National Youth Pipe Band of New Zealand. This is very exciting. It's hard to believe that this is their debut album, though. They've been in existence now for quite a while. So here they are. with a debut album. There's 10 tracks in total, and they kick things off with one of my favourite Don Bradford tunes, The Call to the Gathering. Man, I love that set. So, yeah, very famous Don Bradford tune, and what a way to introduce yourselves. Yeah. So, there's 10 tracks in total, as I said, all sorts of bagpipe and goodness. I've been listening to it now for the best part of a few days. It has been on repeat in my household. The National Youth Pipe Band of New Zealand can definitely thump a big tune. Go and have a listen to this album, Bound by Sound. And I'm hopeful that there will be an actual hard copy release, like a CD, an LP, whatever. I would actually love to have some physical media to, purchase and, own and say, hi, I've got this piece of history right here. This is their first ever album. Brilliant. But yeah, for full details, all you have to do, type it into your search engine, National Youth Pipe Band of New Zealand, and or even just type it in, Bound by Sound. That's how I found it on Spotify. You can go and have a listen to it. It's very enjoyable. So shout out to the National Youth Band of New Zealand. It's an absolute cracker. All right. Well, speaking of brand new music, by the way, yeah, fans of Ross Miller have been waiting. And it seems to be that we've been waiting for quite a while for some brand new music from Ross Miller. Now, we've been plugging this on the Rab Show for a while. We knew that this release was coming up. And this weekend sees the release of a brand new track from Ross Miller called Would Paddy Not Dance? Yes, you can actually go and pre-save it now. I do believe that it will be available on the 1st of May. You can actually go and purchase it. So go to rossmillermusic.com, go and purchase your copy of it. Yeah, this is an all-original piece and will not only feature Ross, the legend himself, on pipes, but will also feature his full band, which is Charlie Stewart on fiddle, Graham Armstrong guitar, Rory Matheson on keys, Ross Saunders on bass guitar, and Rory Grindley on drums. Now, I've already had a special pre-release copy of this to kind of, get a flavour of it so I can help promote it on the radio. And I'll say this track, Would Paddy Not Dance, will be in very heavy rotation on Fuse FM. I can tell you that for nothing. Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, this is such a great track. For any followers of Ross Miller and his music, we've been waiting on this, as I say, for a brave while, and he's been teasing it on his socials now for ages. Can't wait for this. So, yeah, Ross Miller has arranged, tracks like Paddy's Leather Breeches and Would the Minister Not Dance, and his own brand new reel composition called El Retro Park. Very exciting stuff. So go and check it out. Ross Miller music. This weekend we'll see some brand new music from Ross, who's been incredibly busy this last while with the Chili Pipers and such. So it's a wonder he's had time to sit down and record something. There you go. So very exciting stuff. Brand new music from Ross Miller. Okay, so from exciting new music to exciting new appointments. Yeah, thanks to pipesdrums.com, who actually published a bit of an interview with none other than Andrew Douglas of the Pipers Dojo. Yeah. Now, whenever I seen the video drop from pipesdrums.com, I was going, what are they talking to Andrew about? Is the dojo doing something cool? Well, no. This was all about a huge announcement that Andrew Douglas is actually going to be the new director of piping and drumming at Canada's St. Andrew's College. Yes. Now, we reported this on the show a while ago, that Matt McIsaac was actually going to be standing down from this role, and we were curious as to who was going to be replacing him. Well, now we know. Andrew Douglas is going to be that replacement. Now, pipesdrums.com get into it with Andrew and actually ask him the story behind, well, the application process and then what it'll mean for him personally. Because as we know, he lives in America. He is an American citizen, but he's now going to have to move to Canada and for this job. And yeah, he speaks about that in the interview. It's very fascinating stuff. Now, for those of you who know Andrew Douglas well, you know full well that he is a competing bagpiper with the Grade 1 world champions Inverary and District. And from listening to that interview, that is his intention for this incoming season, and he does hope to continue competing with the mighty Inverary. It's a very interesting interview, and the full transcript of which is available on pipesdrums.com. Such a cool story, and congratulations to Andrew Douglas. Yeah. the principal, or sorry, not the principal, the director, the director of piping and drumming. That sounds very grand, doesn't it? There you go. But yeah, shout out to Andrew Douglas. No doubt we're going to have to catch up with him at some point this year to talk to him about this brand new role. Very exciting. And shout out to St. Andrews College as well. You've got a real good teacher there. You know, he's got a wealth of experience with teaching with the Piper's Dojo, of course. So yeah, he's going to be pretty well versed in how to, you know, handle tuition of piping and drumming. Excellent stuff. So there you go. Congratulations to Andrew Douglas from all of us here on the Rab Show. And yeah, wish you well in your new appointment, man, at St. Andrews College. Okay, I want to talk about a brand new website that has just been launched this past week called Pipe Band Rankings. Have you seen this? This got launched yesterday, actually, the point of me recording this on April the 28th. And wow, this website goes through every band, every competition, and allots points and awards, like a ranking system on, yeah, accumulated points throughout the seasons to have like a ranking system to the most powerful pipe band in existence. It's so fascinating. I've been delving through the archives of all of this now since it was launched. Now, if anything, the designer and the person behind this website called Pipe Band Rankings has been in contact with ourselves here in the Big Rab Show for quite a while. In the development of this website and this ranking system and everything, and we've sort of been giving feedback in that and how we believe it should look and how it all should work. This is now launched, and to say that it's created a buzz among the bagpiping world is an understatement. There is literally hundreds and thousands of bands listed here, but also every possible pipe band competition that you can think of from this past couple of years has been listed here. I think from February 2025, I think is where their listings start. So every contest is monitored, all the results are published, and points are awarded depending on the band's placings in each competition. Now, depending on those placings, depends on the score that's awarded, and then there is a hierarchy or a ranking of that pipe band. Now, looking at the top 10 pipe bands of all time since that date, in first place, we had George Watson's College Pipe Band from the juvenile grade with 1,603.31 points. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure how the rankings and the point system works. If anything, that's something we might need to clarify with the owner of the site. So we've invited them onto the show and they've agreed to talk to us about it. So yeah, we'll hopefully bring that in a future show. So in first place, we have George Watson's College. In second place, Texel D-Side Caledonia. Yes. Third place, we have Field Marshal Montgomery. In fourth place, we have Canterbury Caledonian in grade 3A. Yes. In fifth, we have the Black Raven. Yes. In sixth, we have Simon Fraser University. Seventh is Elgin in district. Eighth is Inverary in district. 9 is Greyland Crossing. And in 10, we have the Ulster Scottish Pipe Band. Now, yeah, a lot of people were asking, well, hold on, Inverary in district are world champions. Why are they number 8 on this list? That's a very good question. I'm not sure myself, to be honest. So, yeah, we will be getting into this in a future show. A lot of people had tons of questions as to how exactly this website works, how the rankings are awarded and the points, and etc. All of that. So we will talk about this with the creator of this website on a future Big Rab Show. We've invited them on the show and they've accepted, so we do hope to have that story for you next week. So, yeah, this will be an interesting one to get into. If you haven't checked out the site yet, you have no idea what I'm talking about, go along to pbrankings.co.uk. Such a fascinating site. Like, all of the results are up there, which is half the battle. But, yeah, very, very interesting. Delving in through the archives of all of this, you know, from major competitions to minors, a lot of listings here of results and where bands placed and stuff and the points awarded to them. It's fascinating stuff. So for anyone who's into all of this kind of thing, yeah, that's all available now. Go to pbrankings.co.uk, which is pipebandrankings.co.uk, and go and, yeah, you'll be lost down many's a rabbit hole looking at all of this. It's fascinating stuff. There you go. So, yeah, we'll get into this story in a future Big Rab Show, we'll talk more about this rankings website and how it all works, and hopefully explain that in a future show. There you go. Okay, just want to briefly mention, well, over the course of this past weekend, for those bands who were competing here in Northern Ireland, there was also a wealth of other bands all across the world, for that matter, who were having Saturday practices. Have to give a shout out to the 70th Fraser Highlanders and their open band practice event that they held, which seemed to be a huge success. It was absolutely rammed by the looks of it. I did get a few Snapchats from members of the 70th band. Thank you, folks, who were giving me updates throughout the day, telling me how well it was going. So that was very exciting. Also, shout out to Scottish Power, I believe, had a Saturday practice. I think St. Lawrence Tool also had a weekend practice. And the mighty Field Marshal Montgomery also had a weekend practice. A lot of our Grade 1 big guns are now furiously working hard behind the scenes, preparing for this incoming season. Yeah. Now, I've been told on good accounts that a lot of our Grade 1 big guns are going to be unveiling some new music over this next while. So, yeah, we'll keep you across that. As soon as that new music does get debuted, we'll certainly let you folks know. And one band that people are keeping an eye on is, of course, People's Ford, Bog Hall and Bathgate, Caledonia. Yeah. Now, followers of the Mighty Boggies on Instagram in particular would have seen a little video from them talking about their upcoming concert this weekend, Caberfy. Yes, Caberfy is back again in the Aberdeen Music Hall, and their pipe major actually was recorded in a video talking to everyone about the upcoming show. And he mentioned that they're going to be debuting a brand new MSR. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. They're also going to be debuting a totally brand new competitive medley. Oh! That's exciting. Yeah, plus a whole bunch of other stuff as well that, you know, didn't ordinarily see the light of day at the original Caberfy concert, right? And I know a lot of people that actually went to see them at the Pre-Worlds concert in Glasgow whenever they first brought Caberfy to the stage. And they thought, I've seen it once, I don't need to see it again. Well, this video that they published on their Instagram, you can go back and watch it now, has explained to people, well, yeah, you might have seen the show the first time round, but the second time round, we have a whole bunch of brand new stuff and you're going to want to catch it. Yeah. And, also, including the set of tunes that Kerr McQuillan played at the World Solo Drumming Championships. Yeah. Oh, man. So if you do want to go and see that live in person, I do believe tickets are still available for it, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, so go along to the Aberdeen Music Hall box office, grab tickets for this weekend's Caberfy concert. This is going to be off the chain, especially with all this brand new competitive music going to be unveiled in front of a live audience. That's going to be all sorts of exciting. So, of course, if we manage to get any little sneak peeks or recordings of it, hint, hint, we'd absolutely love to share that with you folks here on the Big Rab Show. There you are. Email us in, bigrabshow@gmail.com, if you do manage to grab a little sneaky clip from that. I'm not encouraging you to break any rules or anything, but anyway, take your phone with you. Right, let's move on. Okay, our next news story, of course, has to be the release of the tickets for the World Pipe Band Championships. Now, this has kind of been the discussion around my dinner room table, I guess, this evening. Whenever these were launched, there was a post put on the World Championships social media just this morning, actually, to tell us that tickets are available now, go and grab them, etc. And they posted the link. Now, the link takes you to glasgowlife.org.uk, who are the company who do run the event. And, yeah, as expected, the ticket prices have increased for spectators. And I am expecting some weekly drones on this one. Yeah. Now, as we know, ticket prices for everything has been getting more expensive. You know, for all sorts of music festivals and things that are, you know, have pre-sale and all of that kind of jazz, but you can get some discounts. The World Championships are doing something similar. Now, we've been mentioning this before in previous Rab shows. If you are going to be attending the Worlds as a spectator, our advice is to book your tickets in advance because there are some significant savings to be made if you book in advance. Okay, So let's look at the pricing for the tickets for spectators, okay? Now, I'm being very specific here. This is for spectators. If you're a competitor and you're competing at the Worlds, I don't think you need to pay anything. But you can't pay to play kind of thing. But yeah, for any spectators wanting to walk through that gate, you will have an initial outlay. So let's look at the Friday, first of all. General admission tickets for the Friday for an adult, if you do buy them in advance, are £14. Right? Now, that's not including your booking fee. All of this, what I'm going to say, that doesn't include a booking fee, because that's an added extra. But if you do rock up on the day and say, hey, I want to get in through the gate, well, it's 19 quid 50p. It's about 20 quid. So you can almost save yourself like £5-6 by buying them in advance. Now, children under 16 are £11.50. That's the same for the concession charge if you're booking in advance for under 16s. And a family ticket is £27.50 for the Friday if you buy them in advance. If you don't buy them in advance and you turn up on the gate on the day with a family, you can expect to pay 38 quid 50 for the Friday. Oh, I'm not done. We're not ready for the dun just yet. Saturday. Oh, right. Now, these are the prices that you will pay if you book in advance. And then we'll get into the on-the-day tickets, because they're... Oof. Right, Saturday, 15th of August, general admission tickets. If you purchase them in advance online, an adult ticket for one ticket is 25 quid 50p. Just going to let that sink in for a little bit. 25 quid to get in through the gate as a spectator, as an adult. If you're a child or an OAP, a pensioner, there is a concession where your tickets in advance will cost you £19.50. Yeah, not a huge discount for under 16s or pensioners, but it's a discount. Then looking at family tickets then, well, looking how the Friday family ticket was £27.50, you may as well say you can round that up to 30 quid. Well, then the family ticket then, if you buy in advance for the Saturday, £60. 60 quid for a family booking in advance for the Saturday. Now, that's one day. Okay, moving on. Now, if you were to turn up on the day and not have your tickets bought in advance, you would expect to pay as an adult £30.50. Right? That's an entire £5 more. And also for the family, you would expect to pay £73 for a family on the Saturday. Now, I'm not even going to get into the Grade 1 seating just yet. That's another ticket price in itself that will perhaps make your eyes water. But you can buy a full weekend ticket. So this will be both your Friday and your Saturday. And this will be the one that I would recommend that you buy. Okay? But obviously, if you're going to be traveling to the Worlds, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to hit both days. All right? Now, the adult ticket for your weekends, if you buy them in advance, are 32 quid 50, which isn't too bad. You know, whenever you consider you're getting 2 days out of that. So that's pretty decent value. Now, the children ticket or the OAP discount is $25.50. That's for both days. If you buy them in advance, that's not bad either. And the family ticket then, £72.50. That's still steep, but fine. Yeah, okay. That's Friday and the Saturday. That's your weekend ticket. I think this will probably be the most popular option. All right. So, yeah. But if you do turn up on the Friday morning and say, oh, we'd like to come in today and tomorrow, and I've got a family here, 2 adults, 2 kids, you will expect to pay £92.50. Almost the guts of 100 quid to get through the gate. I'm not going to hit the dun again, but yeah, you can draw your own conclusions with that one's folk. So yeah, let's talk about the Grade 1 seated tickets. Yeah, if you do want to get a seat in the stands for Grade 1, well, there's one flat price, I guess. You can buy them in advance for 42 quid 50, or you can buy them on the day for £47. So the guts of 50 quid, you may as well say, to get a seat in the Grade 1 arena. Now, from what I remember, these tickets absolutely sell out, and the only way to get them is to get them in advance. So that's my advice here. if you are anyways curious about attending the Worlds as a spectator, my advice is to go to the website now and secure your tickets in advance. As I said, there is some quite significant savings to be made if you buy in advance. But also, my recommendation would be to buy the weekend ticket, where you'll also make quite a significant saving there as well. So that's my advice. All right. Now, another interesting thing that was posted onto the ticket website for the Worlds, that's all I'm going to add here. They put this disclaimer. They said, due to a liquor license being in place, no liquids, no water, no soft drinks, no alcohol will be permitted to be brought onto the site for the duration of the event. Does that sound familiar? They also mentioned that you can bring your own empty refillable container and we will provide drinking water on site. Have we heard that before? Have we heard that before? Yes. This whole debate about not bringing liquids onto the site, it's rearing its head again. No water, no soft drinks, no alcohol, fair enough, will be permitted. So the provision of water, drinking water, will be on site. So, I'm hopeful. People. Yeah. But that's been the talk of our dinner table, and I'm sure it will be the talk of the bagpiping world now for quite a while. For anyone who does plan on bringing spectators to the event, do warn them in advance that they do have to have their tickets purchased in advance to make those savings. Otherwise, be prepared to get your credit card out. There you are. All right. So that's pretty much it for all the news and updates. I think at this point, it's pretty much time for me to go and get myself a big cup of tea. Yeah, it's time for the topic of the week.
Kingdom Thistle Pipe Band Supplies. For all your pipe band and marching band needs. Supplying everything from uniforms and instruments to custom designed bass drum heads. They offer it all. Not forgetting their exclusive Kingdom Ghillie Brogues and George Boots. Crafted by bands for bands. Kingdom Thistle provides expert product advice and an industry-leading drum refurbishment service to keep your equipment in top-class condition. Also, shipping worldwide. So, stop by their store in Fife or visit them online at kingdomthistle.com for all your pipe band and marching needs. Marchify, the brand new home of Flam 5 drumming. Check out their brand new Strike bagpipe case, inspired by their colourful, popular and reliable Flam 5 drum cases. The Strike bagpipe case combines durability, style and practicality, protecting every movement. Shop now at marchify.co.uk with worldwide shipping available. Marchify, every movement protected.
Hello, this is Kerr McQuillan, and you're listening to The Big Rab Show.
Yes, indeed. Okay, time for topic of the week. That cup of tea was well received. I tell you, we've covered a lot of ground on this week's show. Yeah, it's been a busy time. But yes, we're about to get into quite an interesting conversation. Now, it's been a while since we've had Drum Major Emma Barr on the show. And talking all things drum majoring, of course. Well, Emma recently had quite an exciting announcement about some upcoming travel. Yeah, so we're talking about that. Plus, this is an excuse to catch up with Emma and ask her all of those drum majoring questions that you folks had sent in to us the last time she was here on the show. So, let's not blether any further. Let's welcome Drum Major Emma Barr to the show. Emma, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
The best. If anything, you're really good. You're just back from a trip to the sunshine. Yeah, yes. Where were you?
I was in Marbella, so it was a lot nicer than the weather we have at home. We were away celebrating. Anyone who knows Lauren Hannah, she's getting married this year, so we were out in her hen do.
I see. Yeah, I was incredibly jealous. Looking at all the photos, you all lounging around in the sun, sipping cocktails. Just ridiculous. Out of order, Emma. Out of order. Yeah. But the reason I'm chatting to you, obviously you have a season ahead of you. I'm going to talk about that, of course. But you have quite an exciting announcement. You're heading back to Ontario for the Glengarry Highland Games. Tell us
I
about
am.
that.
Yeah. So I'm really happy to be invited back. Obviously, I went last year and had an absolute blast. Met so many new people, and it was just an amazing experience. And, they sort of said, would you be interested in coming back next year? And I was like, duh, obviously, like, it's not even a question. Of course I would. So it was kind of, we'll see how things go and we'll be in touch. So obviously an awful lot of things like that, sometimes it doesn't always work out. So I was trying not to get my hopes up. But when I got the message from Bruce being like, hey, we chat about coming back maybe, I was like, perfect. So yeah,
Excellent.
So excited to go back again and see everyone that I met last year and hopefully see some new faces as well.
There you go. Now, to be fair to be said, Emma, you're not going out there for a holiday. You are going out there for quite a lot of work. So just to explain to people what the Glengarry Highland Games is, it's kind of, this attracts like 20,000 plus spectators. It's one of the largest Highland Games outside of Scotland. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. So it happens in a wee town called Maxville. And last year I sort of learned like the population of Maxville is quite small. And the weekend of these games, it just blows out of proportion.
Yeah.
It attracts such a crowd. I've never seen a crowd like it. And I've been going to the Worlds, I don't know how many years. Like I've been going to all the major competitions, and the crowd at Glengarry is just like nothing I've ever experienced. They absolutely love it over there. They go mad for it. So it's a games that runs over a few days. So it starts with a tartan ball that sort of kicks off the games.
Right.
And it's the big dinner and there's lots of entertainment and stuff. And I performed at that last year. And it's a great event. It's a great night. And that's how it sort of starts. And then the day after is when I did my workshop last year. I believe that's the same this year. It's the same layout. But I did a workshop and it was open to anyone that wanted to come to learn more about drum majoring, whether they were beginners or they'd been at it for a while. So I'm doing that workshop again this year, as well as a couple of performances in the Grade 1 arena, which again, I'm looking forward to. And then as well, the tattoo that night. I'll be one of the drum majors during the tattoo. And then the day after is the mass pipes and drums, the two performances then. So I'll be a part of that as well. So it's very, very exciting. It's a lot of work, but I like it like that. So I don't relax very well with that sort of thing. So I like it to be go, go, go. So it suits me well.
That's fantastic. In fact, we heard about your trip when you went over there last year. And to say, Emma, that you were a bit of a rock star. So many people were like, oh, I have to get a photograph with Emma. So how did you find the reception of drum majoring in Canada?
I thought it was crazy. I felt like a rock star. I was there and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. I was like, I'm so overwhelmed by all this. But everyone was so receptive, and like I think it's more common over here. We have it every Saturday at a competition, whereas over there they're trying to get it back. It's not as like common for them, and it's not as big of an entry as such of their competitions and stuff. So I think to see that element being brought back to Glengarry, I think everyone was just like, this is amazing, like this is great. And I loved it as well. Like I loved how excited everyone got about like my performances. I was like, really? Like I do this every Saturday and I don't get this reaction. I was like, but everyone's very receptive of it, and I think everyone loved seeing that element back at it. They have the military style drum majors that do the marching and the drill and the deportment, but that flourishing element has been missing for quite a while now. So I think bringing that back, I think everyone's just very excited to have that.
Oh, and in a way, they're sort of claiming back that Ulster-Scots connection, with bringing all of that back to Canada. And there's a lot of expats out there, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So, I don't know, I am dead excited to see you back in action again. And can you tell us about the moment of the viral video, Emma, where you were senior drum major of the mass pipes and drums, and you were given the job of giving the command to a sea of bagpipers and drummers? What was that like?
Yeah, honestly, it was crazy. When Bruce first sort of mentioned it, I was like, yeah, like that'll be fine. Like I've done senior drum major in Northern Ireland before. Like
Yeah.
that'll be fine. Like I can do that. That's no problem. And then quickly I started to realize how many people would be involved. And I was like, this is mental. It was just such a surreal moment. And it was Megan Lyons, actually, who's heavily involved with Field Marshal. So it was nice to have a friendly face there that I already knew. But she captured that video for me. And seeing it, like, all being on the field, I was like, this is crazy. Like, such an adrenaline rush. But seeing the video, I was just like, wow. And like the reception, I think, as well, especially over in Canada, an awful lot of the feedback I got was it was so great to see like a young woman doing that. It's traditionally, you know, men that would do that. And I think to see that element of like a young woman being at the front and leading it, I think, you know, people responded really well to that. And it was a surreal experience for me. It was very much like a pinch me moment. I was like, I can't believe I've got here. Like, how am I here? I was like, how have I ended up here? But no, it was one of the highlights for me, that moment.
It was absolutely fantastic. And I'm looking forward to seeing it again, Emma. Yeah, for sure.
Stop the brave. Mark time on the rolls. Mass pipes and drums. By the centre. Quick march.
Do you want to remind us of the date? When is all that happening?
Yes, so I think, isn't it the 31st of July running into the 1st and 2nd of August? It's at the very end of July, beginning of August. It's that weekend. So that's when the Glengarry Games are this year.
Excellent. And for full information, you can check the website, get your tickets, and reserve your spot at Emma's workshop as well. Mm-hmm. There you go. Thanks, Emma. All right. Now, the last time we had you on the show, we asked you a bunch of drum majoring questions and stuff, and we did open the floor. We asked our listeners say, hey, if you have any questions about drum majoring, send them in, and we'll bring Emma back and we'll grill you. So that's what we're going to do. We have a bunch of questions here from listeners, all about drum majors. And I think number one question, Emma, top of the pile, is for people living internationally who don't have ready access to tutors who live down the road from them. Yeah. Where do they even begin? Where can they start?
Yeah, that was a lot of feedback I actually got at Glengarry, was they were like, you know, it's amazing that you're doing this workshop because we have no access to go to one-on-one tuition, which is something we easily take for granted here. I sort of thought, I was like, I never even thought of that. So I think the number one place to start is YouTube. I always say, you know, technology is great. I know like the likes of yourselves post drum major videos. I know my friend Armakaway, and like he would post drum major videos like of us at competition. And I think that is a really good starting place because you can see very easily not only the type of things the competitive drum majors are doing, but like the layout of a competition as well. An awful lot of drum major competitions, the layout changes depending on where you're competing. So especially for international drum majors coming over to say like the Worlds, and they're like, I don't know how that works. Those videos are very, very helpful. Another way is an awful lot of senior drum majors would teach virtually, and not even just senior drum majors, but drum majors that have competed in the past would send videos virtually or do like Skype lessons, which I know it's maybe not the same as one-to-one, but it's definitely a lot better. You're getting that personalized critique on something you're doing. We can tell a lot by a video. It's all visual, so you can tell a lot by a video. I know that that's become increasingly popular, and it's another option. I know Glengarry are hoping that because this is the second year they've brought me out for a workshop, that this becomes more common across, you know, different areas of Canada and America where there is the option of getting a drum major over and doing a workshop. So hopefully that takes off as well. But really the two main places that you could go are YouTube, and then reaching out to any drum majors. That will even, I've had before people reaching out to me saying, hey, if I send you a video of this, can you give me some feedback on it? Which I've happily done.
Right. Yeah.
And people are always receptive of it. Never, no one's ever going to say no. You know, we're always loving to help each other out. So that's definitely sort of like the two ways that I would say.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, good advice there. And if anything, it's kind of similar to the piping and drumming world where there's a lot of online stuff happening, you know, with the services like that, and you send videos back and forth. So, yeah, I'm glad it's sort of similar that way. But is there any challenges with it being all visual?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or like camera placement, you have to make sure you see all of the person, you know. Is there challenges that way?
Oh, there definitely is. Like, there definitely is challenges where you're trying to see every little thing, especially, say, for like marching when you're looking at their footwork. You know, that can be a wee bit challenging. But there's ways to overcome it. It is easily overcome if you get a wee helper and they can record different, like they can scan the camera back and forth and up and down and that sort of thing. So there's definitely ways around it.
I see. There you go. So hire a cameraman or at least bribe someone with a coffee or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
There you go. Yeah. Now, we also got another question from a listener who was asking about drum major dress. And is it necessary to spend an absolute fortune on the getup? You know, the uniform. Do you have to buy the full number ones, the Busby, the whole thing? Do you think you need to go down that line, Emma?
Okay, so no would be the short answer. What's it? How long have I been doing it now? Like 22 years or so, 23 years. I don't own a Busby. I don't own full number ones. Obviously I would own the complete dress that you would need for competitive drum majoring.
Yeah.
But I always give the advice to like my students that do not spend an absolute fortune, especially when you start out, because realistically you don't know if you're going to stick at it and you don't know if you're going to like it. So I always say there's plenty of Facebook groups or eBay or anything where people are selling things secondhand. That's always where I would say to start off with. Now, if you're going to compete, an element of our competition is dress, and if you have got a poorly made uniform, that's going to reflect on your score.
Yeah.
But like, there's a lot of really good secondhand, like really well made uniforms out there at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
I always advise people, do not spend a fortune unless you think, I'm going to stick at this. I really want this expensive uniform. That's my advice anyway, because you just don't know.
Yeah. No, sound advice. Absolutely. So whenever you're first starting out, maybe don't drop 10 grand on an outfit.
Yeah.
Maybe just cool the jets a little bit. Yeah. Test the waters.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
no,
definitely.
Good advice. If anything, that brings me around to the next question then, the actual mace itself. Now, we've been researching this ourselves. We can see that you can get really fancy maces that look so ornamental you don't want to touch them. They're covered in gold and really engraved and look amazing. Do people need to spend a fortune on a mace then for competition?
No. That would be my it's the same sort of thing. Like the students I teach in Kilkeel, an awful lot of them, honestly, I start them off with like a brush shaft and a tennis ball taped to the top.
Right. So
and that's how
real?
they start.
I wondered, was that real? That is a thing. Right.
I always start. I have a whole set of them in the store at Kilkeel, and any of my very, very beginners, that's what they use. Right. Because it's the same sort of principle. I say to their parents, there's no point spending loads of money if, you know, especially kids, they're like, they get bored of it after a year, or they decide, you know what, this isn't for me, I want to try something else. There's no point at all. Now, obviously, the older you get, or if you're starting off as an adult and you're thinking, oh, I would like to treat myself, of course, if you want to, but there's no need to at all. You don't absolutely have to. My mace I use now, I get a lot of compliments on the head of my mace. It's got quite intricate, like, work to the head.
It is nice. Yeah.
But I would, it's a lovely, I love my mace to bits, honestly. I'll never sell it, but I would never, it's not necessary at all. There's loads of different price range options for maces. Again, if you're starting out, go for a cheaper option, see if you're enjoying it. And then maybe, I don't know, if you're at it a few years and Christmas is coming up and someone's looking a Christmas present idea, that could be it. I know my dad, when I was younger, bought one of my maces for my birthday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's the same thing as the uniform. As long as it's the correct height for you and you can use it, I don't think there's any need to be spending loads and loads of money on a mace if you don't need to.
There you go. Again, sound advice there. Yeah. Now, I do know some drum majors who have practice maces because, you know, they're not worried then if they drop it and ping it off the floor or something. Have you got something similar to yourself then? Have you got your contest one, which is the nice one with the filigree and everything? Have you got a practice mate?
So I don't have, so this is the good thing about maces. I don't have a practice mace. When I was younger, I used to have a practice head. So the top of the mace just screws off. So I had a practice one that I put on where I didn't mind if it got dented or anything. And then I put the lovely shiny fresh one on for competition. Now I just have the one. I'm only ever practicing on grass, so I just pray that like nothing ever happens to it. But I don't have that anymore. I just have the one head. But when I was younger and, you know, say like I was learning to throw for the first time, you are going to drop it a few times. So I actually still have it. It's like a bronze head. It's not even silver. Mine was bronze. And the dents in that thing is crazy. I like to tell all my kids that I teach about it because, you know, they're like, I'm dropping this loads. And I'm like, you should see my practice mace head from when I was your age. Like, this is normal. Do not worry. So a practice head, sometimes it's good to invest in if you're worried about damaging. Say you do invest in a more expensive head and you're thinking, I'll maybe get a wee cheaper one for when I'm practicing so I'm not too bothered about it. But it's the same mace. It just, the head screws off.
I see. There you go. I learned something there. There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, right, our next question then is, well, this is a tough one. It actually kind of breaks down drum majoring into its component parts and asks the question, which is more important? So we have marching deportment, flourishing, and all of that. Like, what comes first in the hierarchy of drum majoring? Is it M&D, the flourishing, the dress? I don't know. Does it have a hierarchy?
It actually does. So all three elements are important. All three elements can determine, especially in competition, where you end up or where you place. But what I always say to my kids that I teach is that it always goes by marching and deportment preference. So if there's a competitor that has a first in marching and a second in flourishing, and there's a competitor with a second marching and a first in flourishing, the competitor that has won marching will win the competition.
Right.
So just like bands have ensemble preference, we have marching and deportment preference. So I would always argue that in the hierarchy, marching does rank higher. But, you know, it also would be hard to win a competition if you had first in marching and like 13th in flourish.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
The other
You need to
elements
have it
are
all,
important. But there is a slight hierarchy, and I would say that marching would be the most important element,
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm sure a lot of bands folk will be listening now and they'll know about that ensemble X factor. So that's where it kicks in for drum majors then, the M&D portion of it really, Emma,
Yeah, that's it.
I see. Interesting. So there you go. Hopefully that answers that question. Concentrate on your marching just as much as your flourishing. Yeah. Now, we got a question in then asking about musicality in drum majoring. Now, we got someone, I'm not going to give their name, but they were saying that whenever they drum major in a band, they count, and they count meticulously. And if someone breaks their count, then they're lost. They can't find the double 40, they can't find the single 40, and they're all a bit of a mess, and they have to start again. So how important is the musicality in drum majoring?
Kind of depends who you ask, I think. Me personally, I think I couldn't do it if I didn't have the musicality I have. Now, I'm also very aware I have quite a bit of an advantage compared to most people. For anyone that doesn't know, my dad is a bagpiper. He has played the pipes for the guts of 50 years. So I grew up, even before I was born, I was listening to bagpipes. My mum was going to pipe band competitions. My dad was blowing pipes in the house. Like, I have heard pipes before I was even born. My brother then also played the bagpipes. So I grew up with two pipers playing. And now my boyfriend is a bagpiper. So I'm constantly surrounded by bagpipes. So it's hard for me to not have that musicality. I just know the parts of the music. I don't have to think about it. Which is an advantage to me. It's an element of my performance that I don't even think twice about. It's just second nature. Just natural, whereas I have known a lot of extremely successful drum majors that have to count to 16 every single time. And that's just the way it is. It doesn't mean that one's better than the other. You can't there's been world champions that count to 16 for every part. But the downside of that is if you do lose that focus or something happens and you lose that count, it's hard to come back from it. I would say an easy way that I learned it when I was younger was even in drum major class, we would play 6/8, and Alicia was my teacher at the time, and she would stop the music at a random part and be like, "What part are we in? Marching or flourish?"
Like
and
a
it
spot
forces
quiz.
you to try. Yeah, it forces you to try and listen. And my dad would do it in the car with me. Like he would play 6/8 in the car and then pause it and be like, "What part are we in?"
I love that.
Yeah. But again, I had that advantage. Dad could do that with me at home because he knew what part, it was in as well. So it's an element of my competition routine that I don't even think twice about. And I know it's an advantage to have. But as I said, there's championship winning drum majors that would say musicality is one of their weaknesses.
See, but that counting helps them then, and that focus, I guess. So would you say that, I don't know, would immersion kind of help you? Like if you're spending all day, every day listening to piping and stuff, would you think that would help with all of that?
I think you do start to listen to it. You start to hear the different parts. You see them more often that you're listening to the likes of, obviously for drum majors, competitive drum majors, primarily 6/8. You do start to hear the repeat. You start to hear, oh, that was the same as the part previous.
Yeah.
And you can start to gain your knowledge from it from there. An easy way to do that pausing method that I just talked about, when you're pausing and say, what part am I in? It's really good to do that with YouTube videos, because if you don't even have to have someone with you, you can check by playing the video and seeing what the drum majors are doing in that video, if you've got it right. There is definitely a way that you can teach yourself to be more musical. Now, I know that an awful lot of musicality, some people have it and some people don't. There are some people in this life that just would say they don't have a musical bone in their body, which that is a challenge. It's not impossible to do drum majoring if that's the case, but it is a challenge. But there's definitely ways that you can, help yourself and almost train yourself to start hearing the different parts of the music.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can train through it, and succeed. Absolutely. Emma, that's all really sound advice. I think you passed the test there in your grilling. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So can I ask you then about this incoming season? Are you looking forward to 2026? It's going to be a big year.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. It's good to see. I'm really excited for some of the venues. Edinburgh's a new venue. I'm really excited about that. It's amazing to see a major back in Northern Ireland. Yeah. Obviously, I'm biased, but I love the fact that we have a major again. It's great. Yeah. And I'm really looking for. I just love pipe band season ever since I was a kid. This is the highlight of my year. So I'm always really excited for the season ahead. I'm excited to see the bands, to see what they do. Obviously, I'm rooting for Field Marshal and have to root for Rivara as well for Dad. So it'll be exciting to see. I love hearing all the new sets the bands come out with as well, and trying to hear something a wee bit different. So it'll be real. I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, for sure. Well, even the band's action is going to be exciting. We talk about that all the time on the show, but even the drum major in action, Emma, it's going to be quite exciting this year for the seniors, I reckon. Yeah. So a big year ahead. Yeah,
it's different for me as well. I'm one of the oldest now. In Northern Ireland, I'm usually the oldest drum major competing now, which...
Wow.
Yeah, which is a bit crazy. It makes me feel really old. I'm I'm only 26. Why am I the oldest?
You're quite young.
Why am I the oldest person here? So no, it's really exciting. I feel especially last year, you couldn't pick who was going to win. It was always someone different all the time, and I love when that's the case, because it does add a wee bit of excitement for everyone.
Oh, for sure. And as for me, standing on the sidelines, brilliant. You just didn't know. And then whenever we came to our World's Prediction podcast, you just I don't know, flip a coin. You just don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
much
you're
fun.
like, pick a name out of a hat, really.
Yeah.
It could be anyone. Yeah.
Oh, man. It's going to be a good year. So, Emma, best of luck to you. And, of course, to the FM and to Rivara, we'll give them a shout as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thanks a million for coming on the show this week. And hopefully
No,
we've
thank
answered
you.
some of your drum majoring questions. If you do have any more, you can wing them into us, bigrabshow@gmail.com. And I'm sure Emma will do her best to try and answer them next time round. Yeah.
Yeah.
Emma, thanks a million. We'll let you go.
Thank you for having me.
And there you have it. Fantastic. Do you know what? I am learning so much about drum majoring from doing this show. Honest to goodness. Now, I've hung out and I've chatted to so many drum majors over the years. And every time I have a conversation with them, I am getting a whole new appreciation for the world of drum majoring. Yeah, it's so intricate. And their drum majors, honestly, are so talented. Anyway, so yes, if you're a fan of drum majoring, I hope you enjoyed that conversation and there's some words of wisdom in there for you. And of course, as I mentioned, if you do have any additional questions, do send them in to us, bigrabshow@gmail.com. Massive thank you to Emma Barr for joining us. All right, folks, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. We have another busy weekend ahead of us with tons of piping action ahead. And as you heard earlier on in the show, as we're talking about, we have a lot of ground to cover. But as always, we will be back again next week for even more bagpiping goodness right here on the Big Rab Show pod. And yeah, I'm going to leave you with this. It's been 2 weeks now with no weekly drones. What's going on? So send us in your drones. I'm sure there's bound to be some grumpy people out there wanting to give off about the bagpiping world. Yeah, let us have it. Because JD's had a fortnight off. And also, you can send us in your voice notes as well. Just record a wee message on your phone and email it into us. bigrabshow@gmail.com, and your voice could be on a future show. All right, folks, I am out the door. Thank you all for downloading this week and each and every week. I am actually going to lift my pipes out of the case right now and have a practice before I get this week's episode uploaded. Yeah, Pipe Major has given us instructions that we must blow our pipes at least 30 minutes per day. So that's exactly what I'm going to do after I've recorded this. I tell you, you have to put the work in. Yeah. All right, folks, I'm away. I'll see you all on the next Big Rab Show for even more bagpiping shenanigans. Until then, I'll see you all next week. All the best.
Well, that's it for another Big Rab Show podcast. Thanks so much for downloading this week, and a special thank you to our sponsor, G1 Reeds. Played by bands around the world, they are the champion's choice. Check out g1reeds.com for all of your piping needs. Don't forget to check out thebigrabshow.com to be kept up to date with all of the latest news and views from around the piping world. And also, check us out on Patreon. For $5 a month, you can get your hands on tons of extra piping goodness and be a part of the Patreon faithful. So, until next week, folks, we'll see you right here on the Big Rab Show podcast. All the best.